Good evening, guys. This is Karthik Ashok representing the Professional Helps team. So, this week we have some importance. From August 1st to 6th, it is observed as the World Breastfeeding Week. So, in reference to that, this week we have a guest from the Community Medicine Department, Dr. KJ Subhashini, who is working in Sri Mugambiya Medical College, will be joining us to talk about the importance of breastfeeding and its a short awareness. Hello. Our guest shortly. Hi, ma'am. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, Karthik.
So, on observation of
Yes,
the World Breastfeeding Week, we are having you in our live, ma'am. Welcome to our live.
thank you so much. And hello, everyone, for the viewers also. I believe all are staying safe at your houses. So, should we wait or
Yes, ma'am. We'll wait for a few seconds.
okay, sure.
The most precious gift that every being in this world gets from their mother's own blood, that is in the form of breast milk. So, on behalf of the World Breastfeeding Week, we are inviting you to give us a short awareness or a short importance talk on World Breastfeeding Week and its importance.
Thank you, thank you.
Ma'am, moving on to our first question. What is the speciality of World Breastfeeding Week 2020? What is the real goal is given to this week to the world?
So, the main purpose of observing this World Breastfeeding Week every year in the month of August from August 1 to 7 is to create an awareness about breastfeeding and its importance to the mothers, to their families, and also to the other people in the community. Breastfeeding is
Okay.
always present, but still it acts this month, especially it acts as a reminder about the breastfeeding. So every year we observe this breastfeeding with an annual theme starting from 1992 following a declaration made by the World Health Organization and the UNICEF. So we are all aware breastfeeding is very important as it can prevent about 8 lakh deaths globally, child deaths globally, and about 1 lakh deaths in India could be prevented by breastfeeding alone. So every year we observe this week. And this year we have got the theme of support breastfeeding for a healthier planet, mainly focusing on the importance of breastfeeding and it's linked to the environmental or climatic change. That means breast milk is readily available, it is green, and it is free from any sort of pollution, packaging, or wastage. So mainly to focus the importance of breastfeeding rather than the artificial feeding, we are focusing on support breastfeeding for a healthier planet this year. So when Mother Nature has provided with such an elixir of life for the baby, why not the mothers utilize it to the fullest? So that is the importance.
Okay, ma'am, you have given us a good introduction to the breastfeeding. So, when a baby is born to a mother, when should a mother start breastfeeding her child?
The breastfeeding should be started within 1 hour of life after birth. That is, after the child is born, within 1 hour, you should put the baby to the mother's breast. Whether it is a normal delivery or whether it is a cesarean section, it is very important that we put it to the mother's breast in 1 hour. If we see globally, 3 in 5 babies are not put for breastfeeding in the first 1 hour of life. Okay. So there are certain scientific reason why this early initiation is so much recommended by the experts. One is it will stimulate the secretion of the hormone oxytocin. So oxytocin will help in preventing the postpartum hemorrhage in the mothers. So it causes contraction of the uterus, thereby prevents the bleeding. Next, the baby's reflexes will be at its peak during this initial 30 to 60 minutes. So if you put the baby at this time, one benefit, it will get the colostrum from the mother. The other thing is that the reflexes are good. So it will also help in the secretion of prolactin, thereby milk secretion is also ensured. Next is it has got a laxative effect on the meconium. So I think you will be knowing meconium is just the initially formed stools of the baby due to the consumption of materials in utero. So by causing the laxative effect or passage of stools during the initial hours, the reabsorption of bilirubin into the blood is prevented. Thereby, jaundice is the incidence or the jaundice is very less in the babies. And 22% of the child neonatal deaths could be prevented if you start this breastfeeding at the earliest. So this is a scientific reason why the mother should put the child for feeding at within 1 hour.
Ma'am, you told that the child should be put to the breast within 1 hour.
Yes.
So, what will be the time taken by the baby to suck the milk? Does this time give any importance?
So you are asking whether the baby will be able to suck at a very early stage, isn't it? So
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, we did not have a doubt. Okay, so when immediately after the cord is cut and it is clamped, and if you put the baby to the mother's abdomen, the baby has got the potential to move towards the mother's breast and start sucking. We call this as breast crawl. Okay, and there is a very beautiful video which has been published by the UNICEF and it is available freely in YouTube. So if people are really interested, they can have a look at it. Okay, so that the scientific reason how the baby move towards the mother's breast is that the secretion, the smell and the taste of this amniotic fluid is similar to that of the secretions from the mother's nipples. So the baby relates it to that and the baby can move from the abdomen towards the breast and it can start suckling. It's an inborn reflex. So we can be very sure that the baby will be able to suck within that shorter time. So that is the scientific reason also.
I think it's a good initiative for the mothers who are watching this. Ma'am, how long should the mother breastfeed a child?
The breastfeeding, she should exclusively breastfeed her baby for 6 months. So here I stress upon the word exclusive. That means she should not breastfeed the baby with any other fluid or any other liquids other than breast milk, not even water. Okay, so exclusive breastfeeding for first 6 months, and she can continue breastfeeding for at least up to 2 years of age. But after 6 months of life, after 6 months, the babies, for their growth and development of the child, the breast milk alone is not sufficient. So we start introducing this complementary feedings one by one. For complementary feeding in the sense this dal rice, what we commonly give in our place is the dal rice. We can give smashed vegetables, a vegetable soup, or a fruit juice, a banana. So we start, but not everything at a time. You start slowly. Once the baby get adjusted to that feed, then you can start the next one. So it is said that by 1 year of life, the baby will be able to eat from the family pot. That is all that an adult can eat, the baby can also eat by 1 year of age. So breastfeeding, exclusively do it for 6 months. Then start complementary feeding at around after 6 months. Then along with that, you have to continue breastfeeding for up to 2 years of age. That is a recommendation. And this period is very crucial because if you start this, we call this as weaning, okay, starting this complementary feeds at 6 months. So if you start it very early, the baby will not be able to digest the food. If you start it very late, then it will result in malnutrition. So that is very important.
Ma'am, as you said, an exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months is officially needed. But is that enough for the baby's immunity?
Yes, actually the breast milk, no, as I already said, it is an elixir. It has got all the nutrients and all the anti-infective factors, and it is safe, cheap, and it is available at the right temperature to the baby. You need not heat it or you need not process it. It is readily available. And the mother has to just give the baby, and that will be enough for the baby for the first 6 months of life. We need not worry about that, whether that will be sufficient. So exclusively you can do it. It has got other benefits also. One is it prevents the baby from mortality. It protects the baby from respiratory infections, gastrointestinal infections, and from obesity. It prevents the baby, protects the baby from neonatal hypocalcemias and hypomagnesiemias. And it is also, it creates a very good, and also the IQ. The breastfed babies have a better IQ than the non-breastfed babies, okay? And it creates a very good bonding. The breastfeeding acts a very good bonding between the mother and the child. So the benefits doesn't stop with the baby alone. Mother has also got benefits because of this breastfeeding. So one thing is, I already said, prevents postpartum hemorrhage. It prevents engorgement of the breast. So when the mother is continuously feeding, it will prevent the engorgement of the breast. It has got a protective effect on breast cancers and ovarian cancers. So cancers being the peak, if a woman is properly breastfeeding a child, it protects her from ovarian cancers and the breast cancers. And it also helps in spacing the babies. That means usually it is 3 years of spacing is recommended between 2 deliveries for her to revive, for her health to revive. So this breastfeeding can give a protection for we call it as lactational amenorrhea. At least for a period of 4 to 5 months, the mother is protected without any contraception. The most important thing is she is completely protected from the postpartum blues and psychosis. Okay, but for that you should have a good bonding with the baby. And one more thing, weight loss. All the weight she has put up during this period, during this antepartum and the postpartum period, she can lose all that weight. So whenever we go and give advice to the mother on breastfeeding, if you stress upon this factor of weight loss, she will definitely agree it, okay, because she wants her original physique back. So stress upon the fact it will lead to weight loss. So you have to breastfeed your baby for 6 months, and it can be extended up to 2 years. Even after that, the mother can breastfeed. But there are certain other social factors, like she may not be comfortable enough, and the baby will be put to school in a few more months. Like 2.5 years, we are putting them to the school. So there are certain social factors, and nowadays most of the mothers are working. So considering all these factors, at least till 2 years it is recommended.
Ma'am, feeding a baby for one time is not enough for the baby. How frequently should a mother feed the baby in a day, or how frequently should she feed?
Yeah, so this is the most common doubt every mother will have. There are no definitive numbers we can give. That is, feed 10 times. Like, we can't say it. There is something called on-demand feeding. Okay, the mother should be able to, in a position to get the hint or the cues from the baby that the baby is hungry, and whenever the baby cries, then the mother has to breastfeed the child. If we want, if you do, the mother does it properly, it is said that at least 10 to 12 times a day she will be feeding her baby, with 3 to 4 times night feeding. Okay, why I stress upon this night feeding is that the secretion of hormone prolactin, which is responsible for the milk secretion, will be maximum during the night. So only if the mother breastfeeds her child at night, the secretion of prolactin is normal. So she should
Normal.
feed it at least 10 to 12 times a day, with 3 to 4 times of night feeding is also important. And she can understand like whether her baby is hungry, or like the baby starts doing the suckling reflex, like it will bring the hands to the mouth, it will keep on opening its mouth, it will show the suckling reaction, so the mother can understand that the baby is hungry also. So for that,
Okay.
she should have to understand why the baby cries or what the baby needs. The mother should have a good bonding with the baby.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, as a social practitioner, you might have seen mothers coming with complaints of inadequacy of milk. What would be your advice to such mothers?
So this inadequate milk is actually a myth, okay? The normal Indian mother, okay, even if she is from the lowest socioeconomic status, can secrete adequate amount of milk for her baby, that is about 400 to 600 ml of milk per day. It is sufficient for the baby, irrespective of the size of the breast. So the mother need not worry about the size of the breast. So she will be able to produce adequate for the baby. But the problem is that there are certain reasons why the mother may think she is secreting inadequate. One is, for the first 3 days of life, it is the colostrum that is being secreted. Okay, so colostrums are not the normal milk. There is some thick yellow color fluid, but it is produced only 60 to 70 ml per day. So which is very less when compared to the normal milk secretion of 400 to 600 ml. And the baby will be crying initially. Most of the time, the baby when you would have seen it in your wards, the baby will be, a newborn will be crying. That is because maybe the baby is new to the external environment. All these days it was protected inside the mother's womb, and now it is outside. So that may be also a reason. So the caretaker, the mother or the mother's mother or the grandmother who are with them, they may say the baby is hungry, you are not feeding properly, or we'll start artificial feeding. She may be listening to all this. So that may hit her psychologically. So she will have a feeling that she's not secreting adequate. So what I would say is, don't rely upon the mothers or the great grandmothers. Don't take up their advices if it is not sensible. So you should have the confidence. The mother should have the confidence that she has the capacity to produce adequate for her baby. And for secreting adequately, one more thing I would like to say is about the attachment. That is, how the baby is attached to the mother's breast. Okay, so proper positioning and proper technique of breastfeeding is a key for successful breastfeeding. So there are before she starts breast, only the more she puts the baby to her breast, the more she secretes milk. Okay, so one thing is, before starting breastfeeding, the mother should place herself in a comfortable position. She should be physically and psychologically, she should be relaxed, and she should place herself in a comfortable position. She can feed either in a sitting or in a lying position, but I would always recommend a sitting position. So first, she should place the baby comfortably close to her so that the warmth is maintained, and she should support the baby's head, the neck, and the abdomen, the whole body, not just the neck. The mothers, what they do is they just support the neck, so that should not be done. Place it close to her so that the baby's eyes can see the mother's face. Okay, so once you are comfortably positioned, now you have to make the baby's mouth wide open. That means you can just give a stroke in the angle of the mouth so that the baby will open its mouth. Then you have to attach, and the baby should suck from the areola and not just the nipples. This is very important. Okay, so what the mothers have to take care, because the ducts that will secrete the breast milk are below the areola. So the baby should not suck only from the nipple, and the mother will not have any pain during breastfeeding if the baby is properly attached. So she should ensure, so that can be she can use it as an indicator for herself. If she's having pain, maybe the baby is not properly attached to the mother's breast. We call it as latching. Okay. So one thing is attachment for ensuring adequate milk supply. The next one will be the bonding. Okay, the bond, as I'm telling that from the beginning, this word is very common now. It is very important because if she has a good bonding, and if she is psychologically, both the baby and mothers are psychologically related, even the sound of the cry of the baby, or even the thought of the baby will help her in secreting milk. Okay, so for that, you should have a good bonding. Third thing, just thinking that you are secreting inadequate, don't start the baby with bottle feeding. Okay, bottle feeding or any pacifiers, never ever do that mistake. And it is a mother's responsibility to see that the baby is not put on bottle feeding. That is also, that is the reason, that is because it will lead to nipple confusion. The bottle's nipple and the mother's nipple. The flow of milk through the bottle's nipple is very easy. So the baby need not work too much, need not suck. So just it flows freely. But it is not the same with the mother's breast. The baby has to put some effort in getting the milk from the mother's breast. So if you confuse the baby will not feed from the breast, rather it will prefer only the bottle. Okay, so don't give this bottle feeding. One more common complaint the mother always sees when we go for field visits in the community is that flat or the inverted nipples. Okay. So mother she will think if she has a flat or an inverted nipple, her secretion won't be adequate. That is a common concern of the mother, but that is not at all an issue. If it is noticed during the antenatal period, she can get help from the obstetrician or from her consulting doctor, and she can massage these tissues around the breast, and that may make her nipples normal. Or if it is found only during the postpartum period, there is a method called syringe method, where we can pull out the nipples. So that you have to do it with the help of your consulting doctor. So these are some of the concerns. She may think that she is not secreting adequately. If in case she is not properly attaching the baby to her breast, there are certain problems for the mother also. That is why we are strongly recommending her to breastfeed continuously. She may improper attachment or poor attachment will cause sore nipple for the mother. Okay. So sore nipple, that may lead to cracked nipple. So again, there will be pain, and she will not be able to breastfeed her baby, and all those problems. But even during that time, she has to breastfeed her baby. Otherwise, it may lead to accumulation of milk in the breast, leading to engorged breast and thereby breast abscess and all those complicated. Why should we risk that, isn't it? So properly attach the baby and breastfeed it. If in case you have developed sore nipples, you can just apply the milk, her own milk, over the affected region. That is sufficient to get a cure. And I would never recommend applying a medicated cream or cleaning the breast with Dettol or spirit. That is not at all needed. Maintain the normal hygiene, take bath regularly, apply the hind milk that comes from the mother's breast, and it will usually resolve in a week's time or two. If not, then you can take the baby to the doctor and check if there is any oral thrush for the baby. Okay, it's a fungal infection. Sometimes that also may cause sore nipple for the mother. So the mother should continue. The ultimate thing I'm about to say is, even if you have sore nipple, don't stop feeding the baby.
Okay, ma'am, it was a nice advice to the parents who are seeing this. Ma'am, there was a doubt popped up from our viewers. Does the postpartum hemorrhage relate with the unable to breastfeed a baby?
Sorry, does postpartum hemorrhage
relate with unable to feed her baby? I mean, unable to breastfeed her baby is anyway related to postpartum hemorrhage?
No, that they are two different entities. Okay, if you completely breastfeed the baby, it will stimulate the secretion of two hormones. One is prolactin and the other is oxytocin. So this oxytocin will help in the contraction and the involution of the uterus. So once the uterus contracts, the bleeding from the uterine arteries are less. So that will lessen the postpartum hemorrhage. So it has nothing to do with breastfeeding and PPH. There is nothing to do with that. The only thing is oxytocin. It stimulates the secretion of oxytocin. I'm not sure whether I have cleared it, but if still more doubt, they can write it in the comments and we can clear it later.
Okay. Ma'am, as you are talking about the inadequacy of milk, are there any foods to increase breast milk in mothers?
There is no wonder drug that will increases the secretion of the mother's milk. A well balanced diet. She needs extra calories. That is true. She needs almost 600 kilocalories per day extra in order to feed her baby, because she should eat for two people. Okay. So
Okay.
a well balanced diet with proper proteins, carbohydrates, and fats and nutrients, like proper well balanced diet, and lot of proteins is recommended for her. Meat, fish, she can opt for fish, and dairy products. She can eat nuts in adequate quantities.
Okay.
So that will increase her milk secretion. That is a well balanced diet. And there are certain foods like garlic. It is said garlic, fenugreek, sesame. These seeds, all fennel seeds, all stimulate the milk secretion, but I don't have a like evidence, proper evidence for that. They say these are the foods that increases, but if the mother is eating adequately, if she is psychologically active, with the help of the family, she will be able to produce enough milk. So that is not a doubt at all.
Ma'am, in certain customs, we have seen ancestors giving a spoon of sugar water or honey before starting breastfeeding. Is this custom harmful to the baby?
Definitely. Okay. This we call it as pre-lacteal feeds. Most of you will be aware. Pre-lacteal feed. That is the grandmothers will be even before putting the baby to the breast milk. That is why it is recommended within 1 hour. She should start breastfeeding. So putting the pre-lacteal feeds has got its a lot this disadvantage. It is strictly contraindicated. She should not, a mother should take care that her baby is not given any of this sugar water or honey or ghee or whatever may be there. Only I have said not even water she is supposed to give the baby. Then how can we allow sugar water and jaggery and all those things? Okay, so it is contraindicated. And why shouldn't she give is that there is a chance of infections, isn't it? Contaminated sugar solution or a contaminated solutions can cause diarrhea and infections. That is one risk is there. One more risk is the baby may not feed on the colostrum. So colostrum is, as I said, it is the first initial, actually it is the first vaccine for the baby. It is loaded with lot of anti-infective factors and nutrients. So definitely the baby should get the colostrum for the first 3 days, and these elderly people will discard the colostrum. Okay, they discard the colostrum and they give this pre-lacteal feeds. So if you give the pre-lacteal feeds before starting, the baby will be satisfied with the solutions you give. So the baby may not suck later. So you should strictly, the mother, it is the responsibility of the mother. It is your child, so it is a responsibility of you to ensure that your baby is not given any of the pre-lacteal feeds.
I hope it is a good answer. Maybe from this time, the religious customs may be changed. Ma'am,
Yeah, definitely it should be.
yes, ma'am. During a single feed, is it necessary to change the breast during a single
Okay.
feed?
So that is a common mistake mothers do. Okay. She doesn't feed the baby completely from one breast. What is recommended is that the mother should completely empty one breast, and if the baby is not satisfied, she should move to the other breast. Okay. Why is that? Is to be more clear, there are two kinds of milk which is being secreted. First milk is the fore milk, which is very thin, watery, and it will satisfy the baby's thirst. Okay. So first the baby is thirsty, so it starts drinking the fore milk. After that, it is the hind milk that comes. That milk is thicker, and it is more of fat. So that will satisfy the baby's hunger. So if the mother feeds the baby only with the fore milk, the baby will not be satisfied, and the baby will be hungry, and it will not sleep peacefully after the feed. So mother should take care that she completely empties one breast, then she can go to the other breast if the baby demands. Mostly the baby will be satisfied with the milk from the complete fore milk and the hind milk from one breast. If it is the baby, if some babies they eat more or they drink more, so that time they can move to the other breast, but completely empty the one breast, then move to the other. That is the advice for the mothers.
Yes, ma'am. We have another doubt. Is it safe if the mother eats simultaneously while feeding the baby?
See, that is asking doing 2 jobs at a time, isn't it?
Sure.
That is what was the doubt. Usually, I would say concentrate on one job and later you can move to the other job, isn't it? When you are eating, the concentration will be more on your food rather than on your baby. So the baby, you should give the confidence in the baby that you're completely taking care of it, and to maintain the proper position, to maintain the proper attachment, I would recommend this: you eat properly, you be relaxed both physically and mentally, and then you can give the feeds to your baby. Why to mix both the works at a time? This is my recommendation.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, how can a mother satisfy, or how can a mother know that the baby is getting enough milk?
Okay. The mother can see how many times the baby is urinating. Okay. So if
Okay.
the baby urinates for 6 to 8 times or more in 24 hours, that is in a day, if the baby is urinating for about 6 to 8 times, then she can feel assured that the baby is taking adequate feeds. One more indicator is the weight. So if there is a weight gain of at least 0.5 kg per month following an initial weight loss, that is for the first 10 days there will be a physiological weight loss for the baby, but after that baby is able to gain weight, then she can be assured. So if the mother is aware how many diapers she is changing for her baby,